We have one last action method to implement in our controller to be done with all of our CRUD operations, and that's the delete action. When we stubbed in this method, we added some validation up top to check for a valid ID, and you could actually add this same functionality to your edit action, or you could even possibly extract this out into its own function that your delete and edit action could call. So I'll leave that up to you guys if you want to refactor or edit your code, but what we need to do is make sure that when we go to delete our book object, we can actually do it. So again, we left our post block empty, and this is where the bulk of the code is going to go for our delete action. Okay, so let's talk about what this code does. The first thing that happens here is that we check if this is a valid delete. As you see, when we test the app out, the user will be presented with a yes/no question, essentially asking, do you want to delete this book? They can say yes or no. If they say yes, which we check for right here, then we want to go ahead and actually do the delete. So the first thing we'll do is look up the ID from the post, and then we call our book table gateway, pass that ID in to delete that book out of the table. Either way, we're going to redirect and return to our book list. The last thing that we need to do in our delete action is we need to actually specify the book object in our array that we're returning. When we stubbed this in, we commented this out because we did not have the book object at that time. But now that we do, we can go ahead and re-enable that and set the get book from the book table gateway based off of the ID. This will allow the book to be provided to the delete form, which we need coming up as we modify that view. Before we can test this out in the browser, we need to update our delete view with some actual data. When we stubbed in this delete view, we didn't have any valid book data, and so we're kind of missing some information over here. So the first thing that may be a nice feature to add is the ability to prompt the user for the book that they're deleting. This can be done by updating this delete paragraph or message, and essentially I can just echo out the book's title. The next thing you'll notice is that our hidden ID over here is empty. This means that it will always be empty as we pass back to Zend. So all we need to do is update our value with our book's ID. We can echo that out by calling the book ID. Okay, so let's save this and go ahead and test this out in our browser. Okay, as we test this out, the best candidate for deleting this is probably going to be the book that I added. Since it's not a real book, I can issue the delete. And you'll notice that we have our book data here. So it's saying, hey, do you want to delete the my book? You can say yes or no. If I say no, it should just take me back to the list screen, which it does. And if I say yes, it should delete that book and remove it from our list. And now it's gone. So that wraps up all of our CRUD operations.